Ruckerman.
Choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports, passion, fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. SBtalksports, Sean Webb, Real Takes Over Fake Debates. It is Monday. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, and make sure you guys subscribe. And yes, you know, SBtalksports with Sean Webb is live on every platform, audio and video for the YouTube. But let the lady tell you herself.
Real Takes Over Fake Debates has invaded the audio podcast world. Add Real Takes Over Fake Debates on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and iHeartMedia. Leave a 5-star review and comment below. New episodes every Monday and Friday.
Like the lady said, new episodes every Monday and Friday. Sean, but how are you doing today, brother?
Doing good, SB. Happy Monday to you. Happy Monday to everyone out there watching, listening. Appreciate you tuning in and looking forward to a good recap of the weekend, but also, you know, preview of some things coming up. And yeah, looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it too. We got a lot of things to look over. Obviously, this last Sunday was a great week of football. A lot of things have happened. We've seen a team win off a Hail Mary. We see a team made a trade for a wide receiver to fix their offense, and their team still look the same. It's a lot of different things going on. But before we get into football, the biggest story that's going on right now, Sean, I know it's going to hurt your heart, so we're going to make this quick because I know you're a big Heat fan. Dwyane Wade Statute was unveiled, and nobody on the internet likes it right now. They said it doesn't look like D-Wade. They calling it all type of different actors. I see the guy from The Matrix. I see Lord. I see too many different people. But you as a Heat fan, what was your honest reaction to it? How are you truly feeling about the statue situation? How you feel like how people reacted to it? Do you think they overreacted, or you think they reacting just right?
So SB, first, I don't want to take away from the honor of it, right? Not everybody gets a statue in their likeness while they're alive and around to still see it and enjoy it, right? And
Yes.
We know full well that, you know, if there was going to be anybody who put on a Heat uniform in their career to get that honor, it was going to be Dwyane Wade. Now, let me say this, SB, really quickly. I saw some of the comments and things like that, and I did see the statue. I saw close-ups and pictures of the statue, stuff like that. And I want people to understand a couple things about statues. First and foremost, generally when someone does a statue, and we're talking an entire statue, they don't have the subject matter standing in front of them posing. They're doing it off of a picture or a photo, right? So that has to be taken into context. Now, for comparison's sake, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, when they do the bust, which is not an entire statue, that's only literally a bust of the person's head and neck, and then that's pretty much it. If the person is alive or around, that person usually sits for that particular honor, right? So they're sitting in front of the sculptor as the sculptor is doing it. Obviously, D. Wade was not standing and posing in that pose in front of the sculptor who did it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when you look at a lot of statues, and again, or just renderings of an actual person, when the person, and it seems like a minor thing, but it's actually a major thing. When the person has their mouth open on the statue, it can change the way the cheeks look, the way the chin looks. All of those things can change the whole look of the statue. So from a sculptor's perspective, it is not necessarily an easy thing. And I'm not a sculptor on any level. I am not artistic in that. I don't paint, I don't do any of that stuff, sketch any of that stuff. I stink at it, so I don't even touch that stuff. And that's not, I tell you, that's not your ministry. Don't try to preach it. So I'm not trying to preach in terms of what they could have done better, because I know good and well I could not have done anything remotely close to that. But it is not an easy thing to do, right? So person's taking that picture from that moment. And the thing is, as the audience, as the people looking at it, we don't know what picture they used. We don't know, you know what I mean? Because again, when you take pictures of a moment, it's a bunch of shots that happen within a few seconds. We don't know which of those shots they may have used for that moment. It might not have been the best shot of that moment that they used.
That could be true too.
We don't know. At the end of the day, for me, SB, it's an honor that he was the first. He is the greatest player in the history of the franchise. I'm not going to say he put the franchise on the map, but he is the one who helped usher in this current era of Heat basketball in South Florida. And there's a reason why they call it Miami-Wade County, while he's gotten that honor as well. His impact can't be understated. So
definitely Wade County.
Yeah. So rather than focus on the aesthetic of the statue, I don't want that to take away from why he got it and the honor it was to get it. And that's really all I have on it. And for those who were critical of it, I'd love to see your rendering of the statue.
Oh, it's going to be terrible.
So, because again, people like to, be overly critical or like to criticize really something they themselves can't do at all. So I'd love to see anybody else who's, and anybody who's watching or listening, if you're, a painter or a sculptor or, sketch, whatever, someone who's artistic, I'd love to see what your rendering will look like. Because again, I would imagine it is not an easy thing to do, as I've, had a chance to research.
Yo, I understand from the point you're coming from, because a lot of people don't understand how hard it is actually to make a statue. And but we also in the area of, we got to react to everything. We gotta react. Gotta have my opinion out there. Gotta have the clicks. That's from the point of the area. For the point of the statue being made and who the statue was getting made for, and the moment that it was, I had to agree with you from that point, where even though we might have a heavy opinion about the statue, we shouldn't let it take from the moment that D. Wade, the greatest player in Miami Heat franchise history. I know a lot of LeBron fans going to come in or hear this and say, what you mean? What about LeBron James? Was probably the best player to ever wear a Heat jersey. Dwyane Wade is the greatest player in that franchise history. For that franchise, D. Wade has done more. So it's very understandable. It's Wade County. Now, if you want to say, hey, the thing don't look like him, I understand. It don't 100% fully look like him. It don't. It's not a terrible statue. We've just seen worse, but it's not as bad as people gashing it up to be. I think it's fine. Even looking at it again right now. I think it captivates the moment. I don't want to talk about the moment because we know when he said, "This is my house," And for my Bulls sanity purposes, we're not gonna talk about why we gonna talk about how this moment happened. But also, I did see another angle of it because the one angle that everybody used, that picture looked terrible. But I seen it from a different angle, and it looked like D-Wade. It did. It looked like him. So when you bring that theory up, like maybe the sculptor was taking different shots at each angle, using different shots of different angles of that moment. So maybe one side might be a little bit better. If you look at it at a certain angle, it might be good. But congrats to D-Wade. That's the most important thing. So I don't want this thing to take away from it because, like I said, I'm looking at different, like the one picture that everybody uses, yeah, it don't look like him. But then it's like, because it's like the low angle, but then if you look like up or like the angle they got to the right, it kind of looks like him. It does. So congrats to D-Wade. Shout out to Wade County. But Sean, we also got a little congrats to another guy. So we was a little bit concerned about this team, and for good purposes. I know it's a little too early. I know everybody say it's way too early to talk about stuff like this. But in the 3 games the Lakers have played, they undefeated. One of the games they was down. I think 2 of the games they was down on. JJ Redick made a lot of different adjustments. It was rumored by Baron Davis when he tweeted out that he caught JJ Redick watching film. So he said he's dedicated as a coach. Right now, today, Sean, and the trajectory that JJ, because I don't think the Lakers really fully in their form yet, but the trajectory that JJ Redick is coaching at right now. And I also think because how bad Darvin Ham kind of coaching with his adjustments, that's giving JJ Redick a boost because nobody didn't see none of these adjustments last year. But JJ Redick right now is showing signs that he can be a good NBA coach. And I'm not going to lie, I doubted him at first, especially during that time because it's hard with the experience. But from what I've seen in these first 3 games, and especially seeing when he was tested and he had to make adjustments, and he made the right adjustments, he's showing signs to be a good coach. What do you think?
SB, I'm going to be very brief with this. There was a coach for the Denver Broncos in 2009 by the name of Josh McDaniels. You remember him?
Mm-hmm.
That season, the Broncos started out 6-0.
Okay. All right. I know you're finna go with this, but go ahead.
Started out 6-0. Do you know what their record was after starting out 6-0 for that season?
I don't think they won no more games.
They were 8-8. They were 8-8.
I think they won like 1 or 2. Yeah, 1 or 2 more. I thought But did somebody get hurt right there? You're right.
You're a coach. Figure it out.
Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to add context to it. I don't think he is Josh McDaniels' situation right now, too, right?
What I'm saying is that there tends to be an overreaction when something looks great early. I can tell you that's not the true sign of coaching. Mm-hmm. It's when adversity hits over the long run, when you're in the dog days of the season, when you have to manage injuries, when you got to manage things that are going on, situations that you are really kind of beyond your control. How do you manage not just the situations, but also expectation, things of that nature? There's a lot that comes with coaching other than sitting in a movie theater or at a car wash watching video and film, right? That's great. That's a part of it.
Right.
So I want to be very, very clear that that's a part of it. Has it looked good to start the season? Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah. When you find a way to win games, it looks great. So certainly don't want to take anything away from that. But it's way, way too early.
You don't think he's showing any signs of good coaching though? Like he can be?
It's way, way too early, right? It's I don't want to use that example, but
no, I want you to be honest. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that in an 82 game season, 3 games is not going to be like, oh my God, maybe it's an 82 game regular season. Also, can we be very honest? Mm-hmm. And again, this is where I understand the issues around Darvin's in-game adjustments and, guys, I have a big thing when players call out the head coach in the press conferences, because I don't like it. I think it's in poor taste. If you have an issue with something your coach is doing, take it to him behind closed doors. Don't do it in a press conference. It's soft, Anthony Davis.
Hey.
But hey, it's soft. And if I met him, I would tell him it's soft, particularly. And I don't want to get into the other components of it because there's another side of it that you and I understand exists that I don't necessarily want to get into. My general point is yeah, it looks great. It's the new toy thing, right? The new toy is always fun, but at a certain time, if the new toy isn't working as well as it once did, how do you adjust? How do you figure out how to make this toy keep working and keep going? So that's what I'm saying about this particular situation. It's way too early. Let's not lose our minds. It's way too early. There are teams that are not fully whole. There are teams that don't have the way these rosters look today will not look the same in 2 or 3 months or by the trade deadline.
That's right.
So how do you this is a long process, right? Let's not lose our minds. That's all I'm saying about it. Let's not lose our minds.
Okay. I can't argue the 3-game thing. Only thing that I'm giving credit for right now is that I didn't expect him to be this guy. I feel like with no prior coaching experience to just come in the NBA to try to coach a game, to make the adjustment that he's making, I just tip my hat to him. So I think he's showing signs, but like I will not deny the fact that it is a little early. But I think JJ Redick is showing signs that he could be a great coach. Hopefully he don't get like what they call it when you think you're too smart for it, like he just try to overthink and try to overanalyze situations. Keep it simple. Don't try to brainiac, scientize everything, over data analyze everything. Make the main thing the main thing. But on to the next one. Steph Curry will be out the next 2 games with an ankle injury. I think the one I see was a leg injury and an ankle injury, but we're going to go with the ankle injury. Check again just to make sure. But he will be reevaluated. What was your reaction to Curry getting hurt this early?
Certainly you hate it, but obviously it's good news that, it seems to be minor and that, he's going to miss a couple games early in the season. Probably, if you're Golden State, and again, when we talk about the Western Conference SB, there's just not a lot of margin for error in the Western Conference. For the Warriors, you've built a roster, with some unique, players and pieces. Can you figure out how to manage that while Steph is out? And then when you get Steph back, of course, working Steph back in, as quickly as possible. But, you're glad and if it had to happen, you're glad it happened early. And then again, the big thing is it doesn't seem to be anything major.
Cottage asks, do you guys think the Warriors will win 50 games this season?
Absolutely not.
No, sir. For me, might be, I hate to say it this way because this is an injury. This might be a blessing in disguise because Steph Curry was talking about how the Warriors was in on the cat deal, but they couldn't do it. And they said like the trade didn't fall through. And he also like made a comment about other teams in the league don't want to help the Warriors get better. But if that's the case, which I don't think 100% necessarily true, I'm just like, you don't really have nobody on your team but you that's really worth something, and maybe Kuminga, because nobody wants nobody else on that team, really. That's enough to get like a Karl Anthony Towns. But let's just play devil's advocate and agree with Steph. The next best way for you to build your team is through the draft. How you, Clay, and Dre, that unit got built through the draft. So Steph on the court going to lead to some wins because Steph can win games by himself. But from the point and perspective of for the team future to get better in the future, Steph missing games will help that because they don't need to get in the playoffs. And right now, how tough this Western Conference is, when you're looking at, you got young teams up and coming right now. You got the Spurs, you got the Rockets, you got the Jazz. I'm just talking about the bottom teams. You got the Kings. You got – I said the Spurs. You got the Kings. Even though the Nuggets look bad right now, they're going to get it together. It's literally, besides the Trailblazers, and honestly in the Western Conference, every other team can legitimately make a play in. And if I'm the Warriors, knowing that my max capability is being a play-in team, maybe sitting Steph out would be good because if Steph ain't playing, Draymond ain't gonna play either. So be ready for a tech exit next game too. I'm guaranteeing. I'm calling it, Sean. So as soon as Draymond Green get ejected, I will send it to you because I'm trying to tell you, Draymond Green don't like playing without Steph. So I think it's a good and bad thing, Sean. Now we got to go to football because a lot of things happen in football this week, Sean, where we see a Hail Mary, which we're going to talk about next. We've seen a backup quarterback look better than a starter quarterback. No offense, Sean Watson. A quarterback asked for a sub. And we got to talk about that old man quarterback. But we got to go to the Bears and the Washington Commanders game. Blockbuster game where it's entertaining, low scoring. So obviously you highlight merchants probably wasn't going to enjoy that game. But I enjoyed the game. Went down to the wire. 15-18 was the total score, Sean. So the Bears end up scoring. The Washington Commanders get the ball. They go to the field. They had a couple of seconds left. So now they get to at least to like the 35. Once they get to like the 35, it's like 2 seconds left. So it's Hail Mary, win, lose, or draw. Goes for the Hail Mary, throws it. Executed the play. The problem comes into this. Bears quarterback Tyrique Stevenson was taunting the fans, or to his point, he was celebrating with Bears fans that was at the game. Imagine the game's not over yet. Celebrating with them or taunting, even to a point where it's pictures of Bears fans pointing to him because this is what happened, you guys. The play started. Sean, the play started. When the play started, he was still taunting. And you see Bears fans pointing at him like, pay attention, turn around, pay attention. He turned around late, runs over, get there in time. And they always tell you in football, especially on a Hail Mary, pat the ball down. But if you tip it up, you always leave a chance of somebody else getting it, which what happened. Stevenson was the same player who was taunting, got to the play late, and he was the one who tipped it. And then a Commanders player called it touchdown, game over, video game type of win, break your controller type of win happened. What was your reaction to seeing it? Did you see the video of Stevenson taunting?
I saw the video of Stevenson taunting, certainly, or celebrating or whatever he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible look. When you're in those moments, you have to stay in the moment. You understand the human element of excitement, feeling like as a team and as a player on the team that we got this win locked up.
Mm-hmm.
When he did that, I'm not saying there's bad karma, but ultimately you got to be mindful of there's 11 other guys on the other side of you who truly believe they still got a chance to win this game. And I know people will look at him and blame him and say he was, certainly a big part of why the Bears lost the game. The Bears lost the game for me, SB, because of mismanagement of the clock late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Matt Eberflus did not do a good job of the only thing that would have hurt the Bears is time on the clock.
Yep.
And you do everything in your power to take as much time off the clock and make sure that you have coached situational football. Because again, the play before the Hail Mary, I was looking at the Bears defense like, what are they doing? Like, why are they lined up that way? Essentially saying, hey, we're willing to give you 15 or 20 yards. It was such an easy completion and out. It was basically a completion on a quick out to Terry McLaurin. He gets out of bounds, which stops the clock. And then the Bears, the Commanders got a chance, on a Hail Mary play. I just thought he did not do a good job of managing those situations late in the game. I'm not saying he's going to lose his job because I don't know. I'm saying if people question whether or not he should be the Bears head coach going forward in the future, not just this season, but in the future, it's going to be moments like yesterday that I think really will be a part of that evaluation. And we talked about it, early in the season. We thought the Bears could certainly be competing for a wild card spot in the playoffs. This loss yesterday certainly doesn't take them out of that consideration, but winning yesterday would have given them a much better leg up, given that the second half of their schedule was very, very tough. And you just look at the games they're going to have to play within the division. Yesterday's game, I think, yesterday's game was very, very much I don't want to call it a must win, but when you look back at the end of the season, if you're one game out of the playoffs, or you didn't make the playoffs, or I think this is unfortunately going to be the game that they're going to look at and say that game is probably why we didn't make the playoffs, and why we didn't make the wild card, or why we didn't compete for a wild card late in the season.
I'm gonna be straightforward with it, Sean. Do I think Matt Eberflus is going to lose his job? I think he's on a hot seat right now. Do I think he should be the coach of this team manager? I don't want to take no livelihood for nobody, because everybody got family to feed. But no, yesterday was a perfect example of why he should not be the coach. Shout out to my boys from the Shy Bulls, C-Dub and Bobby, who talked about this early in the season, where it was like, you don't want to keep flipping coaches, and you got trust him, and he earned to keep his job for another year for what he did last season. But from what I just seen yesterday, what I have been seeing, it's time to let Eberflus is the problem. Sean, like you brought up, the last play, the last drive, the defense he played to let them get in position was god-awful coaching decision. God-awful. You pretty much said, go ahead, we're going to give you these yards, and then go for a Hail Mary, which I know it's a low % chance of a Hail Mary happen, but anything can happen. Then also, Sean, in the prevent defense, the last defense they ran, they had a guy in the spy. TJ, if you go back and look at that play, TJ Edwards was in the QB spy. Why is you spying the quarterback? He ain't going to run that far. He ain't going to run it that far. And then also, why do you not prepare your team? Imagine Stevenson, whatever, take his own blame. Let's just say he acted on his own. But the first thing I would have been saying to the team, swat the ball down, swat the ball down, swat the ball down, swat the ball down. Or I get it, you don't want to blitz everybody, but why don't you blitz? Why'd you send a 3-man? You could put pressure on them. You could do something different.
It's what I said about this, SB, is I didn't necessarily have a problem with the Bears sending a 3-man rush. That's not uncommon, right? In those moments.
Right.
Jaden Daniels scrambled 40 yards, over 40 yards before making the throw.
That's a problem.
He had way too much time. But the other piece is, and I have to, and please remind me if you remember SB, because it escapes me, but I don't recall anybody like Cole Kmet, for example, being on the back end at the goal line to bat the pass. Cole Kmet is 6'6". Roma Doomsday is 6'3", 6'4". Normally you have in those situations a receiver or a tight end, one of your taller receivers or tight ends come in and help in those situations, because you want height back there to bat the ball down. I don't recall either of them being in the game in that moment.
I don't believe they was. When I remember I looked at it, I don't believe they was. No.
Yeah, so that was a little concerning for me. The best teams aren't the teams that necessarily have the most talent. The best teams are the teams that execute situational football. In this instance, the best. All those years the Patriots were winning outside of the cheating, situational football. These last 2 years with the Chiefs, why have the Chiefs been so successful? Situational football. Now, granted, that's a coaching thing, and you got to have guys who execute it, but it's not having the most talent. It's you've coached and you've drilled into your team. Here's what we're going to do in this situation. If we have to make a slight adjustment, you make a small adjustment, but generally guys understand and walk in and knowing we've practiced this, we've prepared for this 2-minute, 4-minute goal line, Hail Mary, whatever. You've practiced those situations, so you're prepared for what we're going to do. And also the throw by Jaden Daniels was interesting. What I think a lot of people don't realize about a Hail Mary is more often you're not throwing to a specific player. It's a spot throw. You've practiced that spot throw. That spot throw will notice the alignment there, or the alignment of Washington's players. They had Terry McLaurin in front and they had Noah Brown in back. Terry McLaurin's in front because if the pass is short, he's able, if the pass comes up short, he can't catch it because that's the end of the game. They lose. He's there to bat it behind him to Noah Brown, who's behind the bunch. So that situation in football, they've practiced that. They were ready for that. So that to me tells me that Washington was just a better coached team in that situation yesterday than the Chicago Bears. And that's why I think they ultimately executed the play and were able to come away with the win.
Now, speaking of better coach teams, we could argue it a little bit differently. I think it was a coaching mistake in his last game. But in the sport of – matter of fact, I'm going to even say the next man up. In the words of Mr. Winston himself, he quoted a Detroit rapper, you only get one chance, one shot. You cannot mess it up. Bro, Sean, Jameis Winston is – I'm sorry, at this point, I would love for him to have a show or a podcast, or he just need to have, like, on his Instagram, does he do, like, little motivational talks or whatever, bro? I love Jameis Winston, dog. He's an NFL national treasure. But he did step up, Sean. He did get the Browns a win. I know you've been very high on Winston, even Jameis Winston, since the Buccaneers days. You still feel like to this day, even though the Buccaneers got a Super Bowl with Brady, they should never got rid of Winston.
Florida State days.
Florida State days, too. So I know that's your boy, too, with the Florida State days. Winston went off. And I'm not going to lie, Winston went off. 27 for 41, 334 yards, 3 TDs. Lamar Jackson went for 23 out of 38, 289 yards, and 2 TDs. My problem come in with the Baltimore Ravens in this loss that Derrick Henry only had 11 carries. You can't do that. I'm sorry. But he's been on a hot streak that he's been on. You got to find a way to give him the ball. And then also another problem, and it's funny, I seen this video. You know, people make like highlight videos on TikTok. So on TikTok, they'll do like a clip of you saying something, and then they'll have like the highlight of what you're saying something. You got why is his name escaping me right now? You had him as Defensive Player of the Year.
Kyle Hamilton.
Kyle Hamilton, right? They was like on a team bus, like messing with him, like, bro, you never go for interceptions. You always just trying to hit people or crash out and knock people's heads off. He's like, yeah, I do. And then they show him just hitting people. But I was also thinking, like, it's been times where Kyle Hamilton recoveries have been questioned because he missed the interception at the end of the game that could have ended the game. Then Jameis Winston, I'm sorry, people forget. Jameis Winston was that deal. Jameis Winston, he won the Heisman, right? Jameis Winston was the Heisman, right? He won the Heisman and he went number 1. And when you go look at Jameis Winston's stats, I know we try to joke about the interceptions, but he always put up TDs, always put up yardage. You can't give a guy of that talent a chance again. You got to end it because Jameis Winston will put up a bucket, and he surely did. And he scored a game-winning touchdown play. What was your reaction to your boy, famous Jameis? I think it was must-see TV because as soon as he won, I was just waiting on him to the post-game. Pre-game, post-game, Jameis Winston is a show. And then also, do you think Jameis Winston is going to win out the starting spot? And after you go, I'll tell you my opinion on that last part of the question.
So, SB, I wasn't surprised. Jameis Winston is a talented quarterback.
Very talented.
The last 2 situations he was in, the coaches who chose him were either fired Lovie Smith, who drafted him, or left Sean Payton with the Saints. That's not on Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is in a situation now where this organization chose him to come in and to be Deshaun Watson's backup. But you know full well there's some guys who are not backups. You know they're starters. There have been a lot of people who have said Jameis Winston is a starting quarterback in the NFL, and all it takes is one team to say he's our starting quarterback, and we're going with him. That's the first thing. The second thing is sometimes, and this is where things get a little lazy, it's easy to say, oh, that one season is who Jameis Winston is. Well, that is not in fact true. And the reason why I tell people that is because I always tell people, look at every quarterback in their first year with Bruce Arians, the number of interceptions they throw. All of them throw a career high in interceptions that first year with Bruce Arians. All of them. Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Carson Palmer, all of them. Carson Palmer himself has said the reason why is because Bruce Arians throws a lot at you in that first year. The expectation is you're going to throw for a lot of yards, you're going to throw for a lot of touchdowns, but you're going to throw a lot of interceptions. It just so happened that for Jameis, it was the year that he was in a contract year, and Tampa decided not to re-sign him to a new contract and bring in Brady, and we know what else happened. But Jameis Winston's a starting quarterback. Let's fast forward to New Orleans. His first year as a starter in New Orleans, the Saints are 5-2. He's 14 touchdown passes to 3 interceptions. The Saints are rolling, and Devin White pulls him down on a horse collar tackle, and Jameis tears his knee up out for the season. Next year, he comes back, new coach, first game of the season. They're in Atlanta. He leads a game-winning fourth quarter in Atlanta. I believe in that fourth quarter, I think he was 13 for 15, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is who Jameis Winston is. So for those people who only listen to narrative, I encourage you not to just do that. I encourage you to actually look and pay attention to what this guy is. This guy is a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Agreed.
So, surprised yesterday? Absolutely not. Also, let's not discount when you're playing against a divisional opponent, Cleveland and Baltimore. This is a divisional game. It was going to be tight. It was going to be close. And it was a close game. It was a back and forth game. And if the Ravens, for as good as they've been on a 5-game winning streak. If they have one Achilles heel, SB, it's they don't hold on to leads, and they've blown leads, I think, in 11 games since 2021. If they have one Achilles heel, it's that.
That defense suspect, bro.
Yeah, but also, this is the divisional opponent. Take records off the table. This is a divisional opponent. Nobody knows you better than your divisional opponent. And that Cleveland defense, and again, Lamar played a good game. Lamar had a really good game. I agree with you on Derrick Henry only getting 11 carries. I thought they probably should have run him a little bit more because it was very clear pretty early in the game that the Browns offense was coming out hot. So how do you keep it hot? How do you control a hot offense? If your defense isn't playing that well, you run the football, try to win the time possession game. So I got to give Baltimore some heat for that. But that said, this is a divisional opponent. I'm not surprised on any level that the two quarterbacks played as well as they did yesterday. Both Heisman winners. Both, again, talented quarterbacks, different ways, but not surprised at all how the game went yesterday. And to answer your second question really quickly, is Jameis Winston the starter in Cleveland for the rest of the season? If he's healthy, he's the starter.
Yeah. I think for me, too, I agree that Jameis Winston is the starting quarterback. He is what is best for Cleveland right now. I know you paid Deshaun all that money, but right now you gotta give it to somebody who's actually bringing motion to the field. Like, and then I think this is Cleveland's first time scoring over.
Yes, this season over 20 points.
Over 20 points, yeah.
And their first
no Amari Cooper.
and their first 300-yard passing game in a very long time, because apparently Deshaun Watson had not had a 300-yard passing game.
Says he put a Browns jersey on. Tough.
Yeah.
And then also no Amari Cooper. Nick Chubb wasn't even like a big factor of this game. Nick Chubb was, he had 16 carries, 52 yards. But the two things that I'm glad you brought up that I wanted to bring up too was the Derrick Henry touches. And it's more about the Derrick Henry touches for me because he's been rolling so far. He's been rolling. So since he's been rolling, work with him, and then he makes Lamar Jackson's job easier. With him making Lamar Jackson's job easier, with him making Lamar Jackson's job easier, it's easier on the defense, easier on Lamar, less wear and tear on his legs, less wear and tear on the arm, and then it's like it opens up the game for them. And then, like you said, with the Browns coming out explosive, I think they try to like keep up with Jameis Winston or try to make sure Jameis didn't outplay Lamar, which never should be the case because the Browns always play good against the Ravens. Like you said, when it's a divisional, if anybody know you better, it's a divisional team. And we can always, when you play the division team, even the team at the bottom of the division will beat the top division team because they just so used to playing them. They know their weakness. They know what to expect every time they play. But Jameis Winston got to start. It's nothing that Deshaun Watson could do, even if Deshaun Watson come back healthy. Now, I think Deshaun Watson out for the season, right?
He's out for the season.
Yeah, so he's out for the season. So if Jameis Winston right now, the Browns are what 2-6 now, 2-5,
2-6,
2-6 now. If Jameis Winston could find a way to get these guys to at least 8 wins or more, and he plays well, yeah, he's not getting that job back. It's over with. He's not getting that job back. It's clear cut Jameis Winston. And I honestly think Jameis Winston might be the better player for the team right now, talent wise.
I think when he got there were a lot of pundits saying that scheme that Kevin Stefanski runs actually fits Jameis Winston better than Deshaun Watson.
Mm-hmm.
I think you saw signs of that yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But also, I want to say two things really quick because I know we got to move on. Kevin Stefanski credit for turning over play calling to Ken Dorsey because he got out of the way. That's, again, Kevin Stefanski, an offensive guy, offensive coordinator, made a smart move to get out of the way. But also, I want to also say, when Baltimore, and I know a lot of Baltimore Ravens fans are saying, oh, Mike McDonald's gone, and that's why our defense isn't as good.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't just lose Mike McDonald. You lost 2 other key members of your defensive staff as well. So this defense really is very much in flux. Whether Zach Orr is the right defensive coordinator, again, young guy, remains to be seen. It's still very early in his career, remains to be seen. But I think, and again, people were talking about this before the season, wasn't being talked about enough. When you have all those losses on that side of the ball, you were going to take a hit, and they did. And again, I think yesterday you saw, some of the remnants of that. But you got to tip your hat when a team goes out and plays that well, particularly a team that's been struggling offensively. You got to tip your hat and you got to move on.
I have to agree with you on that. Now, another game that happened. Imagine we wouldn't really be talking about this game because it's the Panthers versus the Broncos. But Sean Payton has a message for Panthers accusing Broncos of trying to run up the score in Week 8. Obviously, in the Week 8 game, the Panthers beat the Broncos the Broncos beat the Panthers 28-14. They tried to run up the score. They really didn't run up the score. But Sean Payton comment to that is play better. What is your reaction to this?
I don't think Sean Payton's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's wrong. I think Carolina needed to play better. My thing is, if you don't like what somebody's doing to you, stop them. Stop them.
I think that's simple.
Yeah. Like stop them. And Carolina didn't. And I know Bryce Young started yesterday. I thought Bryce Young did some good things. Obviously, he had 2 interceptions. You don't like that. But I thought he did some decent things yesterday for their defense. But Denver came out and played really well and, won the game.
But
If you don't
it
like
was the Panthers, though.
Yeah, again, against the Panthers, Denver didn't make their schedule, so I'm not going to take that away from them.
That's true. I can't get mad at that. I can't get mad at that.
Yeah, that said, you got to go out. If you don't like what somebody's doing to you, stop them. And Carolina didn't. So, I'm not mad at what Sean Payton did or said. Yeah, play better. Next time, don't let them do it, and it's simple as that.
I have nothing else to say to it either. Because if you ain't going to stop me, I'm going to just go too. Look, man, we've been having a subpar season. Some of my receivers like to get their stats up, let me get their confidence up. Let me go ahead and get Cordell said, let me go and get your confidence up. Let me go a touchdown. I will do that since you don't want to play. I got to slow down my game for you. No, sir. We're not going to do that. We're not doing that at all. Next up, Sean, on the list is controversy in Indianapolis. Colts starting quarterback Anthony Richardson said he called to be subbed out the game because he was tired. It was a play during the game where he sat out because he was tired. Bad enough if with his concerns of his accuracy, which they already knew this was a problem with Anthony Richardson because he was a project player, still learning because he did get hurt last year, so he had to figure everything out. So he kind of played bad, or he played okay. I wouldn't say bad. Bad is a strong word. Bad. He didn't really play. He didn't play great. I should say that. He went 10 for 32, 175, 1 TD, 1 interception. He didn't play great. Okay. Now with that call controversy, where Mr. Pat McAfee had a comment about it because he feels. Hold on, wait a minute. I exited out on accident. There we go. Anthony Richardson. Hold on, give me 1 second. News. Pat McAfee tweets. He said, I had never seen an NFL quarterback tap out while still being healthy until watching Anthony Richardson. The quarterback is the franchise. The message it sends is loud and influential. So before I get to the next part of the story, what's your opinion on that part?
So first, I've never seen a quarterback tap out of a game. That's a receiver, that's a running back. An offensive lineman doesn't do it. An offensive lineman doesn't say, hey, I'm tired. Come tap the helmet, come get me. You don't see that. That's, again, normally reserved for skill position guys. Guys on the defense may do it. Defensive line may tap out again, because, again, they may just need a break sub. A quarterback, no.
That's kind of crazy. He a big dude in shape, right? So you expect, getting tired. Yeah, he do a lot more running, too.
Yeah, now he had just run 3 straight times. I don't know if he was expecting them to run, but also, again, my thing is because I think the next play was a 3rd and long play, they weren't going to run him again on 3rd and long. I think they ended up running a draw play to Jonathan Taylor, and Jonathan Taylor didn't pick up the first down, but put him in better position in field goal range, and they ended up kicking a field goal. A quarterback tapping out is not a good look, to Pat McAfee's point. Now,
I didn't watch the game though, Sean. What quarter was it in when it happened? I didn't watch this game.
I believe it was in the 3rd quarter, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, well, I would say if it was in the first half, just call timeout. But second half, you can't waste them timeouts.
Yeah, but even then, again, as a quarterback, you got to know, hey, they're not going to run me again in this situation. And again, more than likely on 3rd and long, it's probably going to be a pass play. If I run, it's me choosing to run. And again, I think a big part of the issue was his explanation when he said he was tired. That's not good. Now, I want to say this really quickly, SB, about Anthony Richardson. Bill Parcells famously said, when you're drafting a quarterback out of college, you want at least 2 years of game film. they need to have a certain number of starts. I think his number was like 25 starts in college or something like that to evaluate him. Anthony Richardson didn't have that. He only had 1 year as a starter at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
When he was coming out of the draft and I was doing some draft evaluation, the guy I compared him to was Steve McNair.
Mm-hmm.
That he was raw, and if you try to fit him into a specific type of offense, he's going to need a lot of time to develop. It seems like the Colts have tried to build their offense around his skill set, which again includes him running, some of the quarterback designs, things like that, some RPOs, stuff like that. They've tried to do that. But you brought up something also, SB, just a moment ago. You said he got hurt last year. He only played 4 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's only played, I think, 5 games this year because he got hurt for a couple of games this year. So he really, by schedule, is really in the middle of his rookie season.
Yes.
He still needs a lot of time and a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And the Colts, traditionally, as an organization, aren't patient. They're not we drafted you. If they remember, they drafted Peyton Manning number 1. Peyton Manning started day 1. They drafted Andrew Luck number 1. Andrew Luck started day 1. With Anthony Richardson, it was like they drafted him, and I remember saying at the time, like, he doesn't need to start. I don't even think he should have played his rookie year. I think he needed time to grow, which is why I made the comparison to Steve McNair.
Mm-hmm.
He needs time. And I don't know if they necessarily are patient enough to give him that, because, again, the NFL today doesn't necessarily allow for that. But he needs time. But yesterday shows me he doesn't just need time as a quarterback. He needs time to grow as a leader, because that, to me, was not a good sign of his leadership as the face of the franchise.
No, you can't. It was weird seeing it. I don't know how to truly react to him subbing out. Like I said, I didn't understand the full context right when I first heard about it, because I didn't watch this game. It was the other games on it I was watching. I was seeing the highlights here and there for the games, but I definitely didn't watch this game. But no, I think as a sign of leadership, you probably you don't want to tap out as a quarterback, saying you're tired. And also, maybe Anthony Richardson, you shouldn't be running all the time. And he has a talent that he can be great. He got a built like a tank, can run the ball well, can throw the ball at 70, 80 yards. But can he do the little things, the in-between things is always the questioning thing. And the best thing for him to develop that is time and actually sitting back and watching a quarterback. Get a vet in front of him. Now we get into the question about maybe giving him time. Colts coach Shane Station. I hope I said that wrong. Steichens. Ugh. Yeah, man, we're gonna have to do a SB butcher name counter on the show, because boy, I do it all the time. But he said he won't commit to quarterback Anthony Richardson starting next week. He said we are evaluating. Is this a bad thing to pull the rug under your rookie like this right now? I know I know everybody overacting about the him tapping out and subbing out, but I don't think this is the reason why he's being evaluated for next week. It's just the accuracy thing and his performance of play. But do you think there's a possibility of ruining Anthony Richardson's confidence if they do this?
I think, SB, it depends on what the organizational expectation was this season, going into this season. Mm-hmm. If they came into this season saying, hey, we need to make the playoffs, we need to make a push for the playoffs, I don't know if that necessarily jive with what they really needed to be the number one focus, which was we need to develop Anthony Richardson. Mm-hmm. We made a great investment, spending a top 5 pick on the 4th pick of the draft, spending a high pick on Anthony Richardson. We need to develop him, and we need to make sure that we are totally bought into pushing everything in around him so he can be developed successfully. I don't know if this will ruin his confidence. I don't know if it'd be great for his confidence.
It ain't gonna be great. It ain't great.
Yeah,
it ain't great.
But I just again, I think this comes down to, and again, it goes up to the top to Jim Irsay, that front office. I think Chris Ballard is the GM, on down to Shane Steichen, the head coach. You know, the focus should be making sure you're developing this guy and he's getting better. But also, the other side is you don't want to lose the team. You know, you have a veteran behind him in Joe Flacco who played well, who helped you win some games because Joe Flacco's a veteran and that's what he does. What's the organizational expectation for this season? And again, is it make a playoff push first, or is it develop the quarterback that we spent a high draft pick on first?
Look at the division is tight too.
It's tight because again, I don't think anybody in their right mind has to be expecting them to be there with Houston in the conversation with Houston.
Should have been the Jaguars.
Right. I do think they expect it to be competitive in their division compared to the Jaguars and obviously the Titans, who are a disaster right now. But what was the organizational expectation coming into this season? And again, understanding, like you said earlier, Anthony Richardson played 4 games last year. He's only played a few games this season. He, by games, is a rookie.
By games, yes, he's still a rookie.
You know, so what was the organization trying to accomplish this year? That would be my question. And that, I think, again, has to be a part of what the ultimate decision is, you know, moving forward. But evaluation is a part of the process. It has to happen every week. And again, I watched some of, you know, I was kind of flipping back and forth. I saw some of the game. His development as a passer is still very much left to be desired. But I can tell you this, SB, there was another guy who was a first-round pick, a high draft pick, who in his first couple of years, development as a passer was something to be left desired as well. And I look at what he's doing now, and it's like they were patient, but they also brought in the right pieces to help him. This guy by the name of Josh Allen.
Josh Allen,
yeah. So
everybody loves Josh Allen now too.
Right. So there's got to be part of that, you know, as well. So I think the Colts just got to make a smart decision for what's best for the organization, but also, you know, what's best for this player that you spent, you know, a very high draft pick to get.
Speaking of smart decisions, the Chiefs have just traded, I believe, a 6th-round pick for pass rusher Josh Uche before the trade deadline. I like this move. I give this move a B. I think this is a good move. I give this move a B. What you grading it, Sean?
That's a good move. Is he any kin to Prince Uche from Martin?
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No, it's a smart move by the Chiefs. Again, you know, the Chiefs are going for it. DeAndre Hopkins last week, Josh Uche this week. So they're going for it. He was a healthy scratch yesterday by the Patriots. So I think the Patriots pretty much made it clear they were going to move on from him. So, you know, just helps a good Chief defense be even better. So smart move by the Chiefs as usual.
Now, remember how I said that in divisional teams, he can make games harder. And I'm not going to lie, Sean, but I did my early season predictions. I expected more from this division. And as I'm re-looking at all these other divisions, I can honestly say, without a shadow of a doubt, maybe the NFC South can have something else to say about that too. But the AFC East is probably the worst division in football. Definitely the worst division in the AFC. We get the Patriots versus the Jets. And something funny happened. The Patriots actually beat the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers don't look like Aaron Rodgers again. So, Patriots defensive lineman Davon Godchaux, he didn't hold back when he asked the question about Aaron Rodgers in the locker room. He said, I quote, "Yeah, he's struggling now. Yeah, he definitely don't look the same. You just don't know if he can move back there. I can run him down and catch him. He don't look mobile at all." And Sean, me looking at this situation and seeing this with the Patriots beating the Jets after you just made these moves with Devontae Adams, and the offense don't look no better than what it did before. The all the at Davante Adams is just like you got a car with your check engine light on, your transmission mixed up, but you put new stereos in it. Yeah, it sound good. Or you put the new rims on it look good, but if the car ain't moving, it don't mean nothing. And now, Sean, I want your opinion on that part too. But this is the Jets' 5th straight loss. And I'm here to say it. Y'all blame coaches. Y'all blame receivers. Y'all blame the line. Y'all blame everything else. Aaron Rodgers is the problem. And it's not just play on the field. It's because you brought this up earlier when we was talking to Shirley about the leadership. Your leadership matters as a quarterback, brother. The things you do matters as a quarterback. Now Aaron Rodgers want to complain and be frustrated. No, you got to lock in. And it ain't as easy as you think it is to come in as a 40-year-old and just still do what you do. I hate that Brady did what he did because now you got people thinking they could just go to another team and do some video game simulation stuff where you go to a new team and just win the first year. What Tom Brady did was out of the ordinary. That's never going to really happen like that, especially you went on your first year. Because Aaron Rodgers, you got to remember, your first year you got injured. Was you locking in with the team? Was you trying to develop back with the coach? No. I can tell you didn't because you came in this year, got to get rid of the coach. You didn't build no relationship, no chemistry, didn't tend to add no changes for when you come back to the team. But no, we add Davante Adams. That's going to change everything. I'm sorry, Sean. People got to accept this. The Jets fans got to accept it. Aaron Rodgers is the problem.
So can I say this just real quick, SB?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if my male is the AFC East.
Okay.
All right. Take out the Bills.
Okay. Take out the Bills.
The rest of the division sucks.
Hey, that was a bar. That was a bar. That was a bar. But agreed, but go ahead, continue. That was a bar, though. That was a bar.
We said that the Jets coming into this season, we thought they would be better. We thought their roster had a lot of talent, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. This team has been given every excuse in the book. Mm-hmm. You get rid of, the head coach, Robert Saleh. You say he's the problem. He's not, the team isn't responding to him, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. You haven't won a game since you got rid of him. You said, okay, the offense needs a juice. We need to get a veteran receiver in here. You made the trade for Davante Adams. JETS is MESS.
A mess.
And that's just mess. That's what they are. And it starts at the top. But I want to go beyond Aaron Rodgers. The problem is Woody Johnson and that ownership group who have no idea what they're doing, have never had an idea what they're doing. And this is why Bill Belichick quit on a napkin. It's a day after getting the job. It's a terrible organization. I keep hearing how badly they want to win and all of that. Nobody cares. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. It's so bad even that there are some Jets fans basically saying, hey, to go get Rex Ryan again. Well, unfortunately, y'all, this ain't 2010. That's not how this works.
Not how it works.
Rex Ryan is working in television because that's where Rex Ryan belongs right now.
On television, for sure.
On television. So that's not the answer. That's not the fix. The problem is up top. Fix the issue up top. And when you do that, then maybe, just maybe, you'll become a decent organization. But they won't.
And also, Sean, what was your reaction to the comment? Is Aaron washed? I can say it again if you want me to go through it again. But he said he's struggling right now. Yeah, he definitely don't look the same. You just don't know if he can move back there. I can run him down and catch him. He's not mobile at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off an Achilles injury. He's 40 years old. That doesn't surprise me at all. He's coming off an Achilles injury, and he's 40 years old. I said from the beginning of the season, SB, for that team to be successful offensively, everything needs to run through Breece Hall.
Yes, it does.
It needs to run through Brees Hall. When you have a veteran quarterback, an aging quarterback, particularly one coming off of a major injury, run the football. And they didn't. And I know we're making this about the Jets right now, but I want to say something real quick. Gerard Mayo caught some heat for calling the team soft last week. I firmly believe what he was doing was basically calling the team out in front of the media, was basically forcing the entire team and that entire group to look in the mirror and say, maybe did we play soft yesterday? Yesterday or last week, yesterday, they did not play soft. Yesterday, they came out ready to hit. And you have to give them credit when Drake May went out with the head injury. Jacoby Brissett came in and played like the veteran. He was pushing the ball down the field. It was a team that was basically saying, "Hey, listen, we're going to leave it out. We're going to leave it out here on the field." And they were able to come away with a big win against a divisional opponent. Because again, as we said earlier, when you play a divisional opponent, take the numbers, take the stats, take the records off the table. Nobody knows you better than that team because you see each other twice a year, every single year. I would venture to say you know each other better than some people know their significant others. It's how much they see each other. So, it wasn't surprising what happened yesterday, but again, was Godchaux, wrong for what he said? No, Aaron Rodgers, 40 years old, coming off an Achilles injury. I'd be shocked if he were Michael Vick coming off of that. I want to test Michael Vick coming off of that.
You say we gotta test him. We gotta test that blood.
Yeah.
Now, Sean, one more story before we do our recap of the picks of the week. I know we usually don't do politics here, but if it somehow finds a way in the realm of sports, we definitely got to give our opinion on it. And sometimes when you do certain things, you got to stand on what you do. And when people ask you about it, you should run from it. Well, 49ers lineman Nick Bosa crashed teammates' interview to show support for Donald Trump by wearing a MAGA hat during the interview. And I believe after the game, it was at the post game that they asked him about it. He said he didn't want to talk about it. But I'm like, when you put yourself in a position where you say you support something heavy or whatever you show off, it could have been anything. He could have been a new because reporters gonna ask. That's a reporter's job. They're gonna ask any question. He could have went up to the interview and just did a silly dance or something. They was like, "Oh yeah, you went up to the interview. Why didn't you go to the camera and do something?" They're gonna ask you anything, but don't get sensitive about the topic, or don't try to avoid the heat of the topic because you put yourself in the line of fire. You put yourself right on that target to ask questions. And in my honest opinion, I feel like players should say or do something about things going on in the world. But let's on a day-to-day basis, sports and politics don't mix. It don't. And it's going to open up a whole nother can of worms that a lot of people are not ready for, because now once you put that out there, now every time something comes up, they're going to always try to bring that up, good or bad, or especially the people who's on the opposite side of it. Say if the people who was Democrats or reporters, they're going to try to use that against you, or the Republicans might do things. So it's like it's best to like avoid it. But when you walk into a camera and point at this head like this, and you said everything they need to know, so of course you're going to get asked a question. Why are you running from the problem now? What you think, Sean? And the hashtag Bosa for Trump is definitely says in the hashtag.
So let me say two things, just be really quick. I don't have a problem with someone having their political views or supporting who or what they want politically.
Mm-hmm.
That's your right, and I believe firmly in someone's right of choice.
Mm-hmm.
However, when you jump in a camera of a post-game interview, and you're not being interviewed wearing a hat, and you bring attention to the hat by pointing at it, and then you go to a post-game press conference and you are asked about it, and your response is, "I don't want to talk too much about it."
Seemed like you want to talk about it to me, how you was pointing at it.
Right. Now, this is the same person who once called Colin Kaepernick a clown for kneeling during the national anthem.
Oh.
This is where I flame you. You only want politics in sports when the politics fit you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
Also, don't be the girl who points at her booty and says, "Look at my booty," and then gets mad when everybody asks about her booty. That's essentially what Nick Bosa did.
Pretty much. Yes. And like you said, and I have to look at that point of perspective, because I forgot about the Colin Kaepernick thing, but you cannot call, and this is why I don't like politics stuff anyway, because everybody be like so one-sided. Where no matter what, you'll take out your morals about what's right or wrong, like with the Colin Kaepernick situation. No matter how he did it, for what the situation was and what he was standing up for was right. But since he's on that side, he gonna try to, like you said, look at somebody dumb and stupid, or try to call him a clown. Which that wasn't the case, because now you make yourself look like a clown, and you also expose yourself for the type of mindset that I'm trying my best to keep it PG and clean. I'm trying to be you expose yourself in a bad way. That's you put yourself in a bad light. And you to run in the fight, imagine, especially this race this year, I don't really care who you voting for. Your vote is your vote. Like you said, you have your right to your right. But when you line yourself up and point at a camera and bring attention to something, you need to stand on what you representing. At the end of the day, you said make America great again. No matter whoever watches the show, if you feel that it is, it ain't. No matter if you for Harris, Trump, whatever. What matter? He could have had a Kamala. He could have had a Harris hat on. If he do this and point to it, they gonna ask you in the post game. And I don't want to hear, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it right now." You just had the hat on a second ago. Don't run from the fire. That's my only problem. That you cannot run for the fire. So just you could have even kept it simple. I support Trump.
Right, and he's a fanboy of Toupee Fiasco. So I don't think anybody, without sense knows that he was at a USC event in March and couldn't wait for a photo op with Toupee Fiasco. So we know who you ride with. We understand who you roll with. But when you're asked about it, and again, this is where I would make the comparison with Colin, with Kaepernick. When Colin was asked about it in the locker room, why he was doing what he was doing, he spoke very openly and very passionately about the issues that were concerning him and why he was taking the stance he was taking. Bosa chose to run and hide like a little that he is. So, and again, that what you do on the football field is not what makes you a man. It's your willingness to stand up. And if you have this stance and you have this belief in this particular person, stand on business, speak on it. Don't be a punk.
I have to agree with you on that. You got to stand on business. Let us know what you guys think about that. Sean, we got to get into the pick of the week's recap. I think Sean didn't want to tell me, but we usually say before the shows, but we kind of know sometimes. Sean didn't want to tell me this week, so something must have happened this week. Because what we at right now? What's the record? Is 4-3 my way?
4-3 your way.
So if you win this week, you can possibly tie back up. But go ahead, let's drop the sound.
SB and Sean NFL picks of the week.
SB and Sean NFL.
This is the recap. This is the recap of our picks of the week for week 8. First game, Baltimore at Cleveland. SB chose Baltimore. I chose Cleveland. 2% of the country chose Cleveland. Cleveland did win. So that one goes to me.
Sean.
Tennessee Titans at the Detroit Lions. Lions blew them out. Titans are a mess. Even with the number one defense, they look really bad yesterday. We both chose Detroit, obviously.
The Lions, that deal. I ain't gonna lie. If Hutchinson wasn't out, they've been my Super Bowl favorites in the NFC. They real. They can still make it now, but I would have more confidence in them. Yeah.
Arizona at Miami. I chose Arizona. You took Miami. Arizona did win on the last second field goal. Great. Kyler Murray was really good in the second half of that game yesterday, by the way. So no distractions. Apparently. So that one goes to me. New York Jets at New England. We both took the Jets. New England obviously won that game. Atlanta Falcons at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Atlanta. Kirk Cousins should play Atlanta every week the way he plays against the Buccaneers, or should play against the Buccaneers every week the way he plays. But we both took Atlanta. Atlanta did win that game.
Did you see his pregame speech video? If I die, I send it to you. He said, we go come in here and walk over their trap and take over their trap. Let's go. I was like, yeah. Atlanta done got to my boy. He gonna be at Waffle House next, man.
He's already been. I think he's already been. Yeah.
So wait, you up 2-0 right now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Green Bay Packers at Jacksonville Jaguars. Green Bay did win the game. Malik Willis came in relief for injured Jordan Love, played really well. We both took Green Bay, and they did pull it out. Indianapolis at Houston. We both took Houston. Texans did win.
Shout out my MVP.
Philadelphia at Cincinnati. Eagles played really well yesterday in Cincinnati. Watch out for them. They're starting to find their groove, but we both took Philly. Eagles did win. New Orleans Saints at the Chargers, my rule, Chargers, smack the Saints.
I wish it was a nicer game. I was like, I couldn't do it to you. I thought about it. It was there waiting on it. The Justin Herbert gift was there waiting on it, but I didn't want to do you like that. The game was kind of bad.
Yeah, it was.
1-2.
Yeah. Buffalo at Seattle. You took Buffalo. I took Seattle. Buffalo did win that game. So that one goes to SB. Can't figure out Seattle to save my life at this point. Chicago at Washington. We both took the Bears. Washington obviously pulled it out late. Carolina at Denver. We both took Denver. Denver did win that game. Kansas City at Vegas. Kansas City did win the game. So still the only undefeated team left in the NFL. Dallas at San Francisco. SB took Dallas. I took San Francisco.
That's why you waited. That's why you waited. That's why you waited.
So unless you want to switch to the Giants tonight,
to call the tie.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm gonna take the Giants. Watch a miracle happen. I'm gonna take the Giants tonight.
SB's taking the Giants.
So
in Pittsburgh. So we'll see. So if the Giants somehow happen to win, we would end up tied this week. But for now, I am up this week.
Hey, I peeped it when you was going down the list. I was like, all right, should I go down the list? Okay, with this game. And I was like, in my first match, I'm like, well, you might be tied. Because I'm like, I know I ain't picked the Cowboys. Then I'm looking here, you go like, yeah, we 2-2. And I was like, oh, I did pick the Cowboys last. Never again. See what happened? Rolling with Dak and them boys trash. Shout out Bubba Dub. Them boys trash, man. Oh my God, bro. Man. Why did I pick the Cowboys, bro? But yeah, I'm regretting that pick right there. But Sean, episode 13. Who do you got?
This one's too easy for me. Bam, of course.
Oh, yeah. Big Bam.
And yes, and the greatest quarterback I have ever seen, most talented quarterback I've ever seen, Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, I like it. Also, I knew you was gonna pick old Dan. For me, I'm gonna go the bearded one. No, I'm not giving the bearded one. I'm gonna get Kurt Warner some love. Shout out Kurt Warner, and then we gonna go Alex Rodriguez. That's where we gonna go. Okay. Yankees play today.
Playing right now. Game just started.
I've been calm. The first two games that happened. As I said, I'm chilling because I don't want to overreact. But the first two games was some BS. But we gonna lock in. And the Bulls on too. I'm watching the Bulls and the Yankees game right now too. But appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys share, make sure you guys subscribe. Or you guys on the audio platform, make sure you guys like the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Please follow us on iHeart too and Spotify. This has been another great episode of Real Takes Over Fake Debates with SB and Sean Webb, and we will see you guys on Friday. Oh, I hope.
Real takes over fake debates.
Rucker Man.